Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for To Your Eternity, chapter 164. When we last left our heroes, Michi decided to go through with the outing video, revealing herself as Nono. Before that, though, she had to have a big confrontation with Sumika, who had overheard from the far side of the door to Hirotoshi's apartment. And while it initially seemed that Sumika, after a brief moment of shock, sort of accepted Michi's identity, the next chapter may be a little bit suspicious, because as we saw throughout that chapter, the people who only knew Michi as Nono were very accepting of this part of her, and the people who knew Michi the person were, not really on board. And it looked like Sumika was one of those people, too. So that's still something we're sort of need to keep an eye out on. There was something about the way that Sumika was dressed that was very kind of funereal. But we sort of leave Michi at that for the last chapter we covered last time. Mizuha's 18th birthday party, where we learn that Mizuha is leaving. Thanks to the fact that there is newfound attention on the Guardians, she's going overseas to set up a base there and to deal with the knocker problem, which I think means helping out with the concept of integration, but it's a little unclear what she's going for there. And I don't think we're going to get any answers to that anytime soon. She sort of left the party without saying goodbye to anyone, not even really to Fushi. But yeah, let's dive right on in chapter 164 to Fushi part 1. And we open with Hirotoshi, who is building something, and someone asks him, "Is that fun?" And it's a grown-up Satoru. It's a little bit unclear if this is Satoru. I don't think we're quite at Satoru having lost his memories as the beholder, but he might have. We're in a bit of a nebulous period there. And it looks like Yuki has learned about Mizuha's departure as he's crying in the background. Mizuha-senpai! And Fushi tells him, "Cheer up, Yuki." And then I always get Senba and Tamaki confused. I think this is Senba. Let me do my typical wiki search. Yes, it is Senba. I finished editing the video. Look it over for me. And then Hirotoshi responding to Satoru's question. I didn't quite pick this out looking at that panel immediately. Hirotoshi looks a little stunned at Satoru's sudden interest in his work. Then sort of gushes, "Oh, my models? I got the supplies from an internet friend who left the community and got hooked. Once I finish the town, I'm going to add in giant monsters and take pictures." Is this a part of Hirotoshi's, interest we already knew about? It might have been, and I just, blocked out that whole part of the story because I hate him so much. But he goes on, "Oh, want to give it a shot, Sir Satoru?" And Satoru just tells him, "No. I've had my fill of those things." Which, that feels like he still has his memories. That's reference to the beholder creating life and then giving all of that up, accepting that he's done building. I've had my fill of build. It's a literal smaller scale version of what the beholder did. Hirotoshi does not pick up on that. "Oh, a seasoned veteran. We always welcome people back into the fold." And then Yuki looks at the time. "Oh, it's almost time to leave. Let's clean up." And Fushi tells them all, "I'm gonna head out." And Satoru tells him, "Right." And then Satoru turns to Michi. "Well, no, I'm going to cause you some trouble." And Michi, I'm curious if Michi is just, in general, going by the Nono name, or if, I saw a little bit of the bottom of page 3, and it looks like Satoru still does have his beholder memories at this point. So it might be a bit of beholder leaking through. And I'm not quite clear what Satoru is saying about "I'm going to cause you some trouble." Oh, because they live together, right. But anyway, Michi tells him, "Sure, that's alright." And Hirotoshi looks at them, You two have something planned?" And Satoru looks at him, "Hirotoshi, I came today to say my final farewell." So he's ending here. "Look after Fushi for me." And Hirotoshi does not know any of the details there. "Final? What do you mean?" And Satoru tells him, "This is the last day I'll be myself." And then we cut to, I think he might have also told this to the Immortal Gang, all gathered at the Aoki home. Which I think is our first time seeing post-time skip Echo in the corner there. But he tells them all, and we see the Aokis, who aren't quite like a part of the group, but like listening in. It has been 4 years since I obtained this body, and 4 years since I arrived here. Tomorrow is the day. Tomorrow I will lose everything that makes me myself. First, these powers unfit for a human body. Second, my memories of using them. I will forget about all of you as well. I will live on only with the memories I had as human Satoru. If any of you try to tell me about my true nature tomorrow, it won't ring even the smallest of bells. The helmsman is leaving the ship. From now on, you can do as you like. So it really is being framed as a death. That the beholder, that this god figure, is dying. And I'm curious if this is going to turn into a one last push to get Fushi to take the powers storyline. Because, like, that was just always kind of weird how it was brought up all of a sudden and then dropped just as all of a sudden. But Bond presses him, and this is that freedom you once spoke of? And Satoru does not answer as Tonari teases Fushi. You don't have to be a demon's flunky anymore, Fushi. And Hiro turns to Satoru. Before you lose your memories, I'd like you to tell us what you are. Okay, so are we gonna find some big secret? I just figured he was vaguely God. But alright. Messar taunts him. Is turn into some loser kid really what you always wanted to do? Because that's one lame-ass dream. And Kai mentions you're willing to erase your own memories so readily. Are things peaceful enough for you to give up your memories without hesitation? And Gugu presses, what are we supposed to do after you're gone? What if we can't handle the knockers? What if Fushi and the rest of us end up unable to recover? What if there's knockers inside me right now? I don't remember Gugu being super, like, paranoid about the knockers. Maybe it's just, like, it's easier to ignore those fears when they're 3 years off and not when they're a few hours off. But he doesn't exactly have a wrong point. Though it does sort of run contrast to what seems to be the themes of this arc of reaching cohabitation, of reaching peace with the knockers. None of us, not even Fushi, can tell, can we? We get shots of March and Fushi as Gugu goes on. What if they just killed us right now? And Satoru tells him, aware of that possibility, Fushi chose to trust the knockers. That is why he chose not to accept my powers. Isn't that correct? And Fushi tells them all, yeah, that's right. And Gugu reacts, but I understand your apprehension. I do not know whether you wish to live long lives or to eliminate the knockers, but even if you accomplish one of those goals, you will not necessarily be happy. And at any rate, I've already cast off the only power that can control the knockers. I think your time would be spent more pleasantly if, instead of worrying about all that, you worried about your plans for tomorrow. Is something happening, like, is something beyond Satoru happening tomorrow? Because, like, I would have just said it's a thematic thing, you know, don't worry about these grand schemes, worry on like the short term sort of thing. But then I think that Hiro returns to Yuki. Yuki, fetch me the item I stored here. And Yuki runs, which seems to be in response to Satoru's line. But Yuki runs off. Will do. And it's a pot. That Fushi recognizes an earthenware pot. And Echo also sort of looks at it. And Satoru leaves. I will entrust that to you. It holds my memories. They aren't interesting, but perhaps you can look at them when you're bored to tears. Okay. So Fushi can learn what exactly Satoru's deal is, the Beholder's deal is. But Fushi asks, your memories? Wait, where are you going? Home. The workers of the orphanage told me to come home early today. Okay, I thought he was living in an apartment with Sumika. Or did Sumika and her siblings leave the apartment and Satoru was still at the orphanage because he's not, like, actually related to them? I don't know. But as he's, like, getting his shoes on outside, Messar runs out. Huh? How are we supposed to understand any of that? Stop messing around, you little punk. Is that all? But Satoru tells him, today, I simply came to say my goodbyes. But Messar's, like, raring to go. Let me punch you before you lose your memories. And Kai stops him. Settle down, Messar. And Satoru turns back one final time. Before I go, Fushi, keep your friends close, so that if you start sulking, you can once again turn into a fruit, or crab, or whatever else you'd like. Okay. That's a line I kind of want to ponder for a sec. Because it feels to me like when I first read the first half of that line, it was like so that his friends could get him out of it, could like bring him back to himself. But he leaves that part unsaid. And maybe it's just that part being left unsaid, or maybe he intentionally didn't say it. I don't know. It's a weird thing for like if this is Satoru's final line, because the immortals all just sort of stop at that line, and Satoru turns to go. Oh no, but March stops him. Just 1 minute! And Satoru turns back to look at her. Listen, you! If you brought Fushi here, take care of him to the very end! When he was little, I taught him how to eat, and how to go potty, and how to say thank you! What did you do for him? And Fushi comes out to, like, calm March down. March! And Satoru just turns, nothing. I did nothing. Okay. And that admission takes March aback, and she sort of starts to tear up. But Fushi corrects that. March, I'll tell you instead. He led me to good friends. And we see Satoru, to end the chapter, picks his head up and has what might be the slightest trace of a smile. And that's it. I mean, I reckon we'll have a little bit more of Satoru next chapter as his, like, memories fully fade. And then we're gonna get that pot. And I hope we really do spend some time picking apart the Beholder's memories. Because now that that's been brought up, I feel like that's going to be relevant. I'm not sure in what way, as I'm often not sure in what way in this series. But yeah, that feels like it's going to be, I don't know, tie into something about lingering questions of the knockers and what exactly his goal was. Because, you know, for a while the running theory was that Fushi would become the next Beholder. And we see that's not, I think we've past the point where that can still be true. Where Fushi can take on the Beholder's powers because as the Beholder persona disappears, so too do those powers. But I don't know. I feel like there are going to be important answers in that pot. I don't know what those answers are going to be or why they will be important. But the pot is definitely going to be, you know, is going to change something. I'm not willing to say it's going to change everything, but it is. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to do. Like I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. That's my thoughts on everything here. There is something. There is definitely something that those memories will reveal. I don't know what they are, because I don't know what is left to be revealed. But the way it's set up, there is definitely something going on there. I just don't know what it is. I don't know. Like, as a farewell to the Beholder, because this does seem to be pretty much the end of the Beholder as a character, who is the first character to show up in this series. This is sort of where he bows out, for all intents and purposes. I don't know. Like, it's a weird, it just sort of, I'm dancing around a point. I have not reached what the point is, but I feel myself circling the point. I just don't know what the point is. God, it's an annoying feeling. Like, it's right on the tip of my tongue where I'm going with everything, and I just don't fucking know what it is. Because I can't even say anything. Like, until I work out what the point of all of this is, I can't say anything. There is something here, and there is definitely a thing. I can almost, like, see the silhouette of the thing. I just don't know. And it's annoying. It's just frustrating. I don't know. I just don't fucking know. But Satoru saying his farewells, There's the whole, Hyro wanting to find out what exactly his deal is, which ties in with the earthenware pot. Gugu's paranoia, or Gugu's fear. That bit about even if you accomplished your goals, you will not necessarily be happy. All of these things feel like they're building to something. And the more I think about it, the less a grasp I have. I mean, I like the character bit of March's just rage. She feels this responsibility to Fushi as his mother figure. And the fact that Satoru, who literally created him, is backing out, is running away, is just sort of accepting death, is infuriating to her. And then there's that last Satoru line, that nothing, I did nothing, which Fushi says is not true, because it's because of Satoru that he met everyone. But, how do we... That feels like it's sort of a defining moment to how Satoru views his relationship with Fushi, as an inherently useless figure to him. I don't know. I mean, I feel like... Now I'm starting to reach a point where I think that... Because Satoru, especially since he became Satoru, has always been something of a confounding figure. The lengths he's willing to go or not go is very kind of vague and sometimes ill-defined. And I think those memories that I hope Fushi checks up on as soon as possible, I hope it's not something that's just sort of sitting there for a long time, I think that's going to clarify a lot of my concerns about Satoru as a character. I don't know. I feel like that's right, though. So... I don't know, I'm starting to think that the memories won't give us much from a plot standpoint. Won't give us, big lore dumps, but it will give us exactly what, from an emotional, from a character standpoint, what exactly was his deal? How did he feel about Fushi? Why did he go this far? Why did he create Fushi? Because, I don't know, I always thought the impression was to replace him, right? That was sort of the general... I don't think it was ever definitively confirmed, but that was sort of the fan base consensus, was Fushi would become the next Beholder. And then that just, didn't happen. And Satoru just sort of passively alright, it's not gonna happen. So I think those memories are going to reveal what exactly is... What was the Beholder's motivations for anything he did? For creating Fushi? For how that ties in with the Knockers? I don't know. Because where's the bit where he's he has... Where's that line he had? Oh, I've already cast out the only power that can control the Knockers. Which was what? The time-stopping thing? Right? So... I don't know. I feel like there's something there that's important. I feel like it's going to be in that pot. All whatever silhouette we're looking at here for what is going on is tied up in that pot. And I think that's going to hopefully be what the next chapter is about. For now, though, March gets to yell at Satoru, and March would yell at everyone. That's her. I think that's just a great thing for her to do. Yell at people occasionally. And Satoru's little admission, and I think Satoru's admission there is very much going to be clarified to some degree by the memory stored in that pot. So I hope we get to that as soon as possible, because I want those answers. But for now, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So, all in all, it's a good chapter. It just is a little frustrating from time to time. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!